Encyclopedia Americana is one of the largest general encyclopedias in the English language. Following the acquisition of Grolier in 2000, the encyclopedia has been produced by Scholastic. The encyclopedia has more than 45,000 articles, most of them more than 500 words and many running to considerable length. The work's coverage of American and Canadian geography and history has been a traditional strength. Written by 6,500 contributors, the Encyclopedia Americana includes over 9,000 bibliographies, 150,000 cross-references, 1,000-plus tables, 1,200 maps, and almost 4,500 black and white line art and color images. It also has 680 fact boxes. Most articles are signed by their contributors. Long available as a 30-volume print set, the Encyclopedia Americana is now marketed as an online encyclopedia requiring a subscription. In March 2008, Scholastic said that print sales remained good, but that the company was still deciding on the future of the print edition. The company did not produce an edition in 2007, a change from its previous approach of releasing a revised print edition each year. The most recent print edition of the Encyclopedia Americana was published in 2006. The online version of the Encyclopedia Americana, first introduced in 1997, continues to be updated and sold. This work, like the print set from which it is derived, is designed for high school and first-year college students along with public library users. It is available to libraries as one of the options in the Grolier online reference service, which also includes the Grolier Multimedia Encyclopedia, intended for middle and high school students, and the New Book of Knowledge, an encyclopedia for elementary and middle school students. Grolier Online is not available to individual subscribers. Early history. The Encyclopedia Americana, a popular dictionary of arts, sciences, literature, history, politics, and biography, brought down to the present time, including a copious collection of original articles in American biography, on the basis of the 7th ed. Of the German Conversations lexicon, was founded by German-born Francis Lieber. It was the first full-size encyclopedia of American authorship, being preceded by Dobson's Encyclopedia, and other American reprints of British encyclopedias, as well as a few compact American encyclopedias such as the 4-volume Minor Encyclopedia of 1803, and the 7-volume Lowe's Encyclopedia of 1805 to 1811. Lieber presented the idea of an American encyclopedia, based on Brockhaus' Conversations lexicon, to Carey, Lee and Carey of Philadelphia in January 1828, then the largest publishing house in the United States. Although he invoked the name of the German encyclopedia, he explained that this work would not be simply a translation but be a distinctively American reference work, omitting much of the European matter. The publishers were not at first receptive to the idea, but Lieber had made numerous contacts with American intellectuals who convinced the publishers to commit to the project. Several weeks later they replied with their agreement to the project. However, notes, instead of being granted a royalty on sets sold, he would be compensated by payments totaling $20,000, and from this sum he must defray editorial costs, such as fees for translators and contributors and salaries of editorial assistants. This may have been a fair enough proposition for the period, but it would leave Lieber in straitened circumstances when the work was done, assisted by Edward Wigglesworth, a recent graduate of Harvard University. Lieber set to work. When it was clear they could not keep to their scheduled output of a volume every 3 months, Thomas Gamaliel Bradford joined the editorial team. The editors offered 50 cents per German page to translators of the Conversations lexicon, while contributors of new articles would receive $1 per page. The later was the rate set by the North American Review. Notable contributors to this edition include Supreme Court Justice Joseph Story, who provided some 20 articles on legal topics including common law, contract, corpus delicti, courts of England and the United States, criminal law, equity, evidence, jury law, natural law, and usury. John Pickering, who wrote Agrarian Law, Americanism, Indian Languages, and Part of Accents, and John Davidson Godman, who agreed to contribute articles on natural history, but his work was prematurely ended when he died of tuberculosis in 1830. Also worthy of note was Joseph Bonaparte, the older brother of Napoleon Bonaparte, whose contributions on French topics include a 25,000-word biography on the former Emperor of France, which according to Decay was the longest biographical article in the Encyclopedia Americana. The first volume was released September 1829, at the price of $2.50, and quickly sold out. When completed in 1833, the first edition comprised 13 volumes. Despite the success of the encyclopedia, the Panic of 1837 led the Careys to scale back their catalogue and concentrate on medical works. Nevertheless, this work continued to return profits to its owners on a regular basis. Publishing houses across the United States, and even in Canada, would rent or purchase Carey stereotype plates and publish encyclopedia editions with their own imprints at the foot of the title pages, while retaining the Carey copyright notes on the overleaf, through 1858. In 1846, a supplementary 14th volume was issued. In 1848, John Sutter used the set to verify the authenticity of the gold found in his mill, a discovery that would start the California Gold Rush. A separate Encyclopedia Americana, published by J.M. Stoddart, was printed between 1883 and 1889, as a supplement to American reprintings of the 9th edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica. It was 4 quarto volumes, meant to extend and complete the articles in Britannica. Stoddart's work, however, is not connected to the earlier work by Lieber. In 1902, a new version in 16 volumes that carried over some of the old material was published under the title Encyclopedia Americana, under the editorial supervision of Scientific American magazine. The magazine's editor, Frederick Converse Beach, was editor-in-chief, and was said to be assisted by hundreds of eminent scholars and authorities who served as consulting editors or authors. The first publisher was R.S. Peale & Co. Between 1903 and 1906, further editions were issued by the Americana Corp. and the Scientific American compiling department, with George Edwin Reines appointed managing editor in 1903. The relationship with Scientific American was terminated in 1911. From 1907 to 1912, the work was published as the Americana. A major new edition appeared in 1918-20 in 30 volumes, with George Edwin Reines as editor-in-chief. An annual or yearbook was also published each year beginning in 1923 and continuing until 2000. The encyclopedia was purchased by Grolier in 1945. By the 1960s, sales of the Americana and its sister publications under Grolier, the Book of Knowledge, the Book of Popular Science, and Lands and Peoples, were strong enough to support the company's occupancy of a large building in Midtown Manhattan, at 575 Lexington Avenue. Sales during this period were accomplished primarily through mail order and door-to-door operations. Telemarketing and third-party distribution through their lexicon division added to sales volumes in the 1970s. By the late 1970s, Grolier had moved its operations to Danbury, Connecticut. Later developments. Hachette was later absorbed by the French conglomerate the Lagardère Group. A CD-ROM version of the encyclopedia was published in 1995. Although the text and images were stored on separate discs, it was in keeping with standards current at the time. More importantly, the work had been digitized, allowing for release of an online version in 1997. Over the next few years the product was augmented with additional features, functions, supplementary references, internet links, and current events journal. A redesigned interface and partly re-engineered product, featuring enhanced search capabilities and a first-ever ADA-compliant text-only version for users with disabilities, was presented in 2002. The acquisition of Grolier by Scholastic for $400 million took place in 2000. The new owners projected a 30% increase in operating income, although historically Grolier had experienced earnings of 7% to 8% on income. Staff reductions as a means of controlling costs followed soon thereafter, even while an effort was made to augment the sales force. Cuts occurred every year between 2000 and 2007, leaving a much depleted workforce to carry out the duties of maintaining a large encyclopedia database. Today, Encyclopedia Americana lives on as an integral database within the Grolier online product. Editors-in-Chief: Francis Lieber, 1829–1833, German-American legal scholar, author of A Code for the Government of Armies, a key document in the history of the humanitarian treatment of prisoners of war. Frederick Converse Speech, 1902–1917, engineer and editor of Scientific American magazine. George Edwin Reines, 1917–1920. Author and editor. A.H. MacDonald, 1920–1948. Reporter, editor, and author. Lavinia P. Dudley, 1948–1964. Editor and manager, first woman to head a major American reference publication. George A. Cornish, 1965–1970. Reporter and editor. Bernard S. Kane, 1970–1980. Educational researcher, editor and business executive. Alan H. Smith, 1980–1985. Editor. David T. Holland, 1985–1991. Editor. Mark Cummings, 1991–2000. Editor. Michael Shalley Jensen, 2000–2005. Editor. K. Ann Ranson, 2005–2006. Editor. Joseph M. Castagno, 2006–present. Editor.